to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Arctic researcher Tyler Hymanson.
Ooh, Arctic researcher. Why? Why?
Because we're going up to the Arctic tundra of where things are very cold, and I assume there's lots of snow.
So much snow.
For Tremors, a cold day in hell.
Yes, we're on our way to Nunavut territory in Canada.
I'm having none of it.
You've been waiting all day to say that, haven't you? Haven't you? You've been like, I'm going to make a Nunavut joke. It's going to be so funny. That's right. We're here today talking about the final Tremors movie.
For now.
Oh, yeah. For now. You're right. I forget to say for now. For now. Don't make us make another Tremors movie, you guys. A Cold Day in Hell.
It just came out like a month ago, even. Yeah. So.
And I don't know if you've been following along, but if you have missed some of our last episodes, Eliz, where can new listeners reach out to us and listen up?
Yeah, please go to sequelrights.com or find us on any of the major podcasting apps. We've got, good interviews on Tremors 3, Tremors 4. We have S.S. Wilson and Sam Lee. And check out those episodes and all of our other franchises.
Yeah, if you can't find the website, if you DM directly on Twitter, we'll make a zip disk and run it to you in person. We'll mail it to you.
Yeah, and if you still can't find it after that, here's Tyler's personal phone number so you can call him up.
That's right.
It's 555
123 Fake Street.
Anyways, it's time to strap on your parka, put on your sunglasses to block the reflection of the sun, and watch that trailer.
How'd you get this number? You from the government? Impossible.
Improbable.
Ass blasters in the Arctic?
Welcome to the Boyd Canyon Arctic Research Station.
If you've got ass blasters, you have graboids. Incoming! Go, go, go! Take a couple of tablespoons of cement and harden the hell up, huh?
Man, that trailer gave me chills. Get it? Cold puns.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So
It was ice cold.
We're done.
Hey, we got all night.
I want to talk about the opening of this movie. So, and some of the ones in the past too, we've seen like an opening that someone is finding graboids.
And that it's
right?
the exact same as the fifth one?
Yes.
It's
So-
exactly the same.
We're in the tundra, like they said.
Are we?
Or we're in...
We're on a sand dune somewhere with a blue tint.
In South Africa.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can say right off the bat that this movie was entirely filmed in South Africa, again, because it's cheap. And they just CGI'd and camera tricked all the snow in the opening.
South
scene.
Africa, known for their snow.
No, yeah, well, but nobody's wearing any cold weather gear. Like, it's obviously hot out, and the guys just wear, like, the scientists are just wearing, like, cardigans.
Well, the one guy does have frosted tips.
So the important...
He does.
It's the funniest thing you've ever said.
Eliz, continue.
I don't want to.
No. What were you going to say?
All right, so I have to say that this first scene is very important because it brings to light, one of the modern plights that people just don't talk about enough.
Uh-oh.
Of white racism against other whites.
That's right.
That's right. These three characters.
Which Nordic country are you from?
These three characters are Yankee, Dutch, and Aussie. Those
That's right.
are their names in the movie. And they are researchers. One is from America, one is Dutch, and one is Australian.
What?
So they are making fun of each other for being from different countries.
We subjugated more cultures than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And so then, in what can only be construed as an act of God, they're all murdered by graboids. So
Leaving behind an arm, just like the fifth movie.
Yep. Just like
we
the
should
one we
say
just watched.
it's directed by John Paul Joseph.
Don Michael Paul. That's his name.
Don Michael Paul.
A Frankenstein of names and a Frankenstein of film.
Good old Donnie boy. Bringing it back.
The one thing that I did kind of like about this scene is that at the very end, it focuses on the dude with the frosted tips, his like polarized sunglasses. You can see the reflection of the graboid coming up and killing people.
That was kind of fun.
We're led to believe that it's the tundra. They're not dressed warmly.
They do mention that it's a heat wave for the tundra.
It's
anyway.
global warming, but the wind's blowing and it's sand. They're on sand dunes.
It's straight up sand.
And they just put like Instagram filters of snow on this too.
Yeah.
Snow protocol, go. Yeah. So that's the opening scene. We get a little title card that, says the title of the movie, in case you're wondering what that was.
That's right. And then you're like, oh, God, this is going to keep going.
Yep. And then we open on Perfection, Nevada.
South Africa.
Perfection, South Africa.
So apparently there's like no one left in the town or something. We don't.
The
see
sign
them.
still says 14, but there's
It's been
one
crossed
guy.
out. It says 12.
It also looks like there's literally only Chains Market.
Chains Market
nothing
is
else.
there.
Nothing
You can't
else.
really see any other buildings. We find out that Bert is working the market now. It has a B rating for the health department.
Which was a fun detail. But it has a very fancy milk neon sign, which doesn't make any sense. It does have a nice reference that Jody is working at a law firm in Reno and is allowing him to, like, squat at the store, basically.
Yep.
Good for her. She got out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reno's not getting out. I was born there.
Good point.
And this is one of my what ensues here, which I was excited for originally. Like, ooh, Chang's Market, that's awesome. Like, we're back in Perfection.
Yeah.
But then what ensues is like my least favorite scene, I think, of the entire movie.
Yeah, and the market also is without any of the cool stuff that Jody had instituted before. There's no graboid photo op. There's no graboid souvenirs. There's no comics. There's maybe
It's
like
all
a
like Bert-
couple of
Bert
things
cardboard
from Bert.
cutouts,
Yeah. But yeah, none of the cool stuff that was there before.
There was some really hilarious poster in the background. It was like girls with guns. Or
Oh
something.
yeah. I was like, is that
It was
a
like chicks
porn
with guns.
advertisement? Like, I think it was just like a video, but I was like, I don't know about Don Paul, Michael,
Yeah.
Josh.
Well, yeah, so there's that Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets back to the same thing where there's a wind chime made of shell casings that says just one more casing until
No, it says one more tax man and my collection will be complete.
Yeah.
And guess who shows up?
The tax man.
With a novelty license plate.
Right, it says tax man.
Yeah. And then we get treated to a lovely scene of two old men yelling at each other. Which, I don't know about you guys, but this is the first time where I was like, I don't know. I felt Bert felt out of character in this scene because he was just like frantically yelling the whole time. He didn't seem like smart or anything. I mean, obviously this is like his nemesis other
There
than
was
the
no
graboids.
weight to it, but
graboids,
it gets back into the Clive and Bundy thing. Like, it just does not I felt it in 5, and even more so in this movie. It's just like and I don't know if it's the archetype that they're dealing with, and I've changed watching at it, or if it's just John Paul John's
Bert has
effect about
changed,
it.
and there's kind of a misdirect too. As the tax man is coming in, Bert is like aiming a big gun
Yeah,
at
like he's
something, and so
gonna
it
shoot
looks like he's going to shoot the guy. But then when the guy opens the door, Bert shoots, and he's actually shooting like a target practice. So at least, thank God, he wasn't going to shoot the IRS
But I don't even
guy.
appreciate that misdirect.
No,
Like,
no, yeah.
But I don't know if it was you who, Eliz, who just said it, or Tyler, but someone said like the wit is gone from him. And I think that's totally what is happening in this for me. I was like, he's not having any quippy lines that are funny. He just seems like he seems more like delirious old man.
He's just mad at the government.
Yeah.
Like he's a Facebook crackpot.
Yeah, he's
Like,
a conspiracy theorist at this point too.
Yeah,
He's
it's-
ringing up things about
I didn't
DARPA, which I guess is actually a real organization.
Yeah.
And that they're-
DARPA's legit spooky scary, but
Okay.
in 2018, after the whole Nevada rancher thing, and like to play on that as a joke, like people died, the whole thing is I don't want to get super into it, but like it was just very strange and kind of icky.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this Bert.
Yeah.
At the start of the movie, and I was just like, okay, can we? The scene went on so long, and they're like flipping
Yeah.
each other
But
off
then
and stuff. and I'm
here comes Jamie Kennedy to save the day.
like, thank God.
So before he leaves, the taxman's like, we're seizing the property, but it's not even his property. So I don't know, like, why.
Yeah, it's Jody's property.
But they say that they're seizing the market because Bert hasn't paid taxes.
Also,
in
as we
years.
established that it's in danger, there's graboids that still live in perfection, and it's an endangered wildlife preserve.
Yeah, but they don't even ever mention that in
They
this
say
movie.
that?
They don't. No, that was the end of 3, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I know.
I
but
was
they
gonna
never say,
I was gonna say that's something that does not ever come back.
Yeah.
They're very selective in their
Yep.
remembering of things.
No shriekers.
No
No
El
wildlife
Blanco.
preserve and
yeah,
no
and
El
Bert
Blanco.
specifically says in the 5th one, like, you can't keep one of these things, but it's like, you guys totally kept one, like, at the end of 3, so.
Yeah, and there's another thing like later on when he eventually gets recruited to come after these graboids, and one of them says, the person who's recruiting says, like, you've killed graboids on 2 continents, which is not true either, because he also
Right.
killed graboids in Argentina.
Argentina.
So
There seems to be a lot of confusion about where Argentina is.
you know
in
why?
This
It's
franchise.
because I heard that Don, Michael, Paul, John, Jiminy didn't watch the fucking movies.
He did not.
Maybe they're thinking of it as like a Pangea situation, and like what was North and South America called again after they split up? I forget. Yeah.
Tremors 3 was so old.
You're
the
giving-
continent was back
Yeah,
together.
that's right. You're giving Donny Boy too much credit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get Jamie Kennedy's back. Like apparently he was on some sort of mission to get Corona. I don't know.
Yeah.
He comes back like with a pallet of like delivery things, and then he's like drinking Corona. Yeah, I don't know.
We find out that the YouTube video social media thing did not go well, and that they're not really making the videos anymore.
Yeah,
Apparently, they didn't get paid up front from Van Dyck to fund their dig for the next 2 years.
Well, and Jamie Kennedy's like off shooting other videos or something. He like right.
yeah,
that's
he
that's
had
really
a
why
nervous
he was
breakdown,
gone.
and then he was gone, and like he was probably shooting girls with low self-esteem videos.
It doesn't really seem like they bonded anymore as father and
No,
son.
their relationship is like, remember we were talking about in the last episode of just like, hey, we thought they'd reveal this earlier. They could be like a fun dynamic of them going back and forth. And it's like, well, I guess that's this movie. Because
Yeah, I guess I was wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, because
Not fun.
ostensibly that was what, like 3 years ago. So maybe let's say they spent 1 year making the videos and 2 years apart. I think you would still bond like a little bit more, but it's like this took place
They
the
hate
day
each
after
other.
The
Africa.
next day, yeah.
Yeah, like they still don't like each other.
I think that there's something, and maybe it happened in a little bit in the first movie, but there's not a dignity to Bert in this. Like he's in like military like whitey tighties and like sleeping in a hammock.
It also seems like he's having like PTSD flashbacks,
Right.
is what we see.
Yeah.
What it looks like, at least when it first happens on the roof.
So it's kind of a tough pill to swallow. It's just not as enjoyable. Like there's a lot of things about it that make it like not a fun performance.
Yeah. He's looking a little bit older in this movie too.
Yeah. I mean, man's 70.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Still
also,
pretty impressive.
Also good for him. Like, and he's still delivering lines. Like he's you know.
Yeah.
it's-
I know you. Yeah, I know you said there's less wit, but he does have a handful of funny lines in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like so we're kind of getting up to it here. Like he gets a phone call, and it's basically these people in Canada that know that Bert is a graboid expert because someone knows him, kind of. And
There's
they,
a girl there who's a big graboid enthusiast.
yeah, and they need him. And like I feel like the minute graboid is mentioned, boom, we're back to like the Bert that
Yes.
that we're used to. He has a purpose again, and he's like, I'm gonna go to Canada, I guess, now and hunt these graboids.
Yep.
But once again, he's like doesn't believe there's graboids there. He's like, these people are idiots. They can't be in the they were only in the desert, and they kind of tell him like, well, global warming. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
3 prophet. I don't know. So so they go up there and they meet Valerie, who is the main girl that knew a lot about graboids that was talking to him.
I just
on
want
the
to say
phone.
one thing before we get to that.
Okay.
To Valerie, there's a whole scene of them flying in an airplane on the way there, where
Yeah.
we're introduced to the pilot. I don't remember her name.
Mac or
Mac.
something?
I
Yeah.
believe it's Mac.
Yeah, you're right, Mac the pilot. And there was a shot in this that got me so excited for like 2 seconds. So they're flying along, and then like the camera pans back and all of a sudden you see like this shot of like an ass blaster that basically looks the same as the one from Africa, but an ass blaster flying in behind them, and I was like, oh shit, we're gonna get a freaking awesome aerial dogfight scene.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh wait, these movies have like pretty low budget.
Yeah.
And as soon as it started, like the scene started going on, I was like, oh, okay, this is not as exciting.
Well, and like
the first shot was just like, yes.
Every time the ass blasters are getting more and more powerful blasts from their asses.
Yeah.
Like they're going higher and higher every time. At some point it seems like they actually have like wings, whereas before they really just had gliding, like arms that had flaps that they could glide on. But now it's like they've got wings. They can go like all the way up in the air as high as an airplane.
I want to just have a brief aside about something about Tremors, about the time where it came out, that so much of the rules were tied to what you could do practically with the effects.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what's awesome about it. Like, it's so much based in reality, and like the ass blaster idea, as what S.S. Wilson told us, was like, no, he thought it was ridiculous until they said, no, it's an actual beetle. Like, it's something that actually happens. Like, they can do this. And then so they had to get a rig and figure out the wires and do all these things. And once it becomes this badass CG model, it's just like, well, fuck it. Like,
I guess ostensibly there are beetles that have wings, but like.
But yeah, do you think that the special effects guys like designed these ass blasters up based off real animals?
No. I mean, no. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Is like all the rules of Tremors are come at this really amazing time of when effects are kind of evolving, and so much of the rules were based on what they could actually do in camera and what they could do practically. And so when you're talking about how the scale of the ass blasters has skyrocketed in terms of what they can do and how far they can fly, and I think some of that comes from, you don't even have to worry about what the rig is going to be in camera. It's just, it's like, just shoot a plane and it's up there.
Yeah, this was just like I got so excited for like 2 seconds because I was like, this is something we've never seen, like a crazy ass blaster dogfight. And
also,
then,
I just kept thinking, like, if ass blasters are on ice, like, wouldn't the blast just melt the ice and not launch them into the air? But I mean, I guess they could go off a rock or something, whatever. But
yeah, so I guess they like run into the ass blaster.
Turns out there's not that much ice up here.
Yeah, there's literally no ice.
Yeah, fucks up the propeller and the engine,
That's right.
and they have to crash land the plane.
Yep.
But they're fine, so that they can arrive at the base and meet Val. Who's introduced as Valerie.
That's right.
She is, and she doesn't say anything, and then her and Bert are trading graboid knowledge and hypothesizing on how there could be graboids in the Arctic, and, talking about the global warming to explain why there's no snow in South Africa. And then she says, like, oh, wow, this is so cool. I can't wait to tell my mom and dad. And, like, for some reason, Bert thinks it's weird that she said that. Although if someone said that, wouldn't you just be like, yeah,
that's cool.
Like, tell your parents about your research. I don't know. But he was like,
go for
what?
it.
And then she was like, oh, yeah, my mom and dad are Val and Rhonda. Like, from the original Tremors movie. No, she just says from the first graboid invasion.
From the original which I was like, oh shit, this is really cool. Like, that's a cool callback and an interesting character to bring in.
And it's cool that she's a scientist, and
but
I like her mom.
While we're on the topic of this character, I don't know what you guys think about her use in the film as a whole, but I feel like it's kind of wasted, in my opinion.
It's wasted. When they show up to this tundra research facility, there's no snow on the ground, and they basically say global warming, and like that, and that's it. Like, it is nothing there. But the staff of this research facility, there's a few guys there that accept the exception.
Yep.
But otherwise, it looks like a bachelorette party in Tahoe.
So that's the thing.
It's like, let's get the hottest scientists and get them up here.
Yeah.
And then we're going to kill them off one by one.
Yeah, the girl, Val, I like her. I liked her character. I liked, what she did during the movie. I think this actress does kind of look like what the child of Finn Carter and Kevin Bacon would maybe look like.
Yeah.
And, but I think overall, just one of the main problems I have with this movie is there's too many characters that we don't care about.
Yep.
And they're taking up time that we could have had developing this character more.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like she kind of gets sidelined. She gets introduced and has like maybe a couple of times where she chimes in with like graboid knowledge,
and then they put her on a tower.
Yeah, and then she kind of gets sidelined for favor of this like fucking so unbelievable romance plot with Jamie Kennedy.
To the point where they're like it builds up to the same kiss that happens at the end of the first movie, but it borderlines on sexual assault.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that was gross. I was like, there is no fucking way that this lady would be. She's like, you know, I don't know. She's like the hottest girl you've ever seen, basically, and then
a super smart and head of this research facility,
and she's totally going to be in love with Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, where the research facility is filled with beautiful women and beautiful men.
I mean, so they kind of tried to put little interactions with her and Jamie Kennedy throughout the movie that showed that even though she's hot and looks like a total bimbo, like she had some like weirdo, like
it's just so
offbeat characteristics that he would like, I guess.
He like hits on her immediately.
Yeah, for sure. Which is we've
a
seen
real
him to do
creep.
that.
Right,
He's
right,
a
right.
real
But
creep
but
through the whole movie.
But she doesn't. Yeah, but the fact that she would go along with it is
like the movie rewards him being a creep.
Yes, but there, I'll just say like they at least gave her a little bit of agency to show a couple of times during the movie that she actually found him, you know, like interesting.
Yeah,
or
I
funny
guess
or something.
I'm just watching this movie like graboids. Ass blasters. Yes. Romance between Jamie Kennedy and this girl. No. Like this movie is fake as fuck. What? I thought I was watching a documentary until that moment.
Yeah, and I think like they're probably just like there was probably a lot of discussion about like, well, maybe we should have Val and Rhonda's kid end up with Bert's kid, but then they were like, oh, that's gross
That's
because there's
creepy,
like
yeah.
at least 20 years difference,
That's
and
so
so they were like,
creepy.
all right, let's split the girl into two characters, one that could make out with Jamie Kennedy and one that's going to
I
be,
mean, that
you know,
probably happened, but it
Yeah.
was a bad idea.
I
Yeah.
feel like this is like a bigger problem with this entire movie, and I mean, we're kind of talking overview a little bit here, but like this movie picks and chooses all these like lore things and then throws them all into this same movie that's just overstuffed with like dumb things. So then it ends up feeling like, oh, I just like, oh, let's have Val and Rhonda's kid for fun, and she's there, whatever. Let's bring back a key plot point from Tremors 3, like.
Yeah,
Whatever.
what if Bert ran the market? That's cool.
Yeah, it's just like all these kind of tiny things that like it seemed like someone who didn't really care about the franchise would just be like, oh, fans will like this. But
Yeah, and it was like, oh, remember like Hot Springs, eggs. Like,
and it just felt like pick and choosing certain things, but not like giving them, like you said, room to breathe. And like I would have loved for Valerie's character to be like the new badass character. Instead,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, sideline.
there's
Nothing's
too many
built up and
characters. Like
nothing's
there's
paid
the
off.
scientist that Jamie Kennedy has the romance with, and then there's Val. But there's also like at least 3 other women and like 4 or 5 or 6 other men. Like,
Yeah.
And so, some of them get killed, but not really. Like, not that many of them actually get killed, and not anybody that we knew anything about. And so it's just kind of like, oh god, there's so many people here. Like the pilot comes back at some point, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I
and
feel-
then there's like the DARPA military guys as well.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a way less complicated plot too than the last film, so we can kind of say that like basically there's graboids here and they all get trapped on the base and they're fighting graboids.
There is no snow ever again.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're fighting graboids just like they did in Perfection, basically, where like everyone's either on a roof or in a building trapped.
Yep.
And they had decided that there's 3 graboids,
Yeah.
right?
And so, like, also, you know, I hate global warming just as much as the next person. And, you know, I don't mind being hit over the head with a global warming message either. Like, you know, WALL-E is like my favorite of all the Pixar movies. But this,
It's mine too.
This just uses global warming so stupidly and incorrectly. Like, I mean, I looked it up just to double check that I wasn't being a jerk, to see if any place in none of it was so melted that it would like look like this now. It is not the case.
Yeah.
Almost like they said 90% of it is hardcore frozen tundra, and the 10% that's not is like the highest level of Arctic whatever.
How am I not surprised that that's not true?
It is. The thing about it is, it's not using global warming as a message. It is using it as an excuse for a low budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not try to tie it in. It is not with wit. It is not with a joke. It is global warming, dummy. And like, it's almost like it's making fun of it as a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, how much more really could it have cost to get those snow blower white paint things and paint the, you know, the edges of all the roofs and dump a ton of...
If it was in the middle of the summer and outside in South Africa, it probably would have been hot.
I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess originally the film was supposed to shoot in the mountains of Bulgaria.
Oh, good.
But the country had
Too
like,
much snow.
Yeah, one of the largest blizzards ever, and they were like, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
It's not that cold in hell, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, Eliz, so we got graboids, people getting killed by graboids. I am interested to know what your thoughts are on the death of the, like, I think she was like the communications sexy lady.
Yeah.
Which one was she?
Yeah, which person from
Oh wait, the
Kinfolk,
one from DARPA?
from
No,
the
no, no. This
Kinfolk
is
catalog
This is
was
she was a
destroyed?
brunette. She's a brunette.
Is she pulled through the window?
Yes, through the
Okay,
window.
she was a doctor. Actually, she was the
Okay.
medical doctor.
I see. I couldn't remember. There's
So-
like
oh,
one.
There's two
Should be
brunettes
useful
that look the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should be useful for the bullshit disease that comes up later.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
she was the one that diagnoses Bert, which we find out he's got a virus or something.
He's got graboid disease. Oh, he also had a tapeworm.
What?
I think it was.
I think
that
isn't that
was
part
same
of
thing.
the? It's
yeah.
this whole thing.
Oh, maybe, but they removed the tapeworm.
Oh, I
yeah,
don't remember.
but he
yeah.
still is infected with
Okay.
graboid disease.
And they make it so they explain that like the one time that Bert was inside a graboid.
in Tremors 3.
Yeah.
Again, like cherry picking, like, hey, remember?
Right. They
Remember?
cherry pick that, but forget about El Blanco and that they
Right.
could probably just capture a graboid there, pretty easily. They say that like, oh yeah, it's a long gestating disease. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
you
been
haven't had it
many,
until this
many,
movie.
Many years. It shows the scene like in a kind of like, feverish flashback of Bert, but it's like there's no context. So like you really don't even, if you hadn't seen that movie very recently, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even understand that it was flashing back to that.
Here's what I wanted to happen, and also something that doesn't make any sense. We see this happen on the roof, right? And you're like, what the fuck's happening? Is he like fucked up by dealing with tremors from dealing with
I thought
graboids
he
all the
got
time?
abducted by aliens
Yeah.
or something, because there was like a flash where it showed like a Close Encounters like alien.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Shadow.
And then-
The visual languages of him losing his shit in the fifth movie in the cage. Like, it's the same,
Yeah.
like, quick cut bullshit.
The
nonsense.
second time it happens, it's when he's out there saving the ass of that fucking dumbass nerd scientist guy.
Dr. Freeze?
Yeah.
Dr. Freeze, who for some reason we care about, even though
Dr.
he's
Freeze?
proven to be a coward and
What
a
was
jerk.
it? His name was like Dr.
Freeze,
Frizzecci.
Yeah.
Freezy. Yeah, but it sounds like Freeze.
So the second time it happens, they're both incapacitated by this. Like, he's also on the ground going like,
No, because Bert told him to do everything I do.
Oh, okay.
That's why
I
it's
missed that
supposed to
part.
be a joke.
So I was like,
Because
what?
Bert was like, "You're gonna follow me. You're gonna do everything I do." Like, and so
Okay,
that's why
I
the
guess
guy.
I guess I
missed
missed
that.
that.
I
I was
missed
just like,
that too.
why is he also affected by this?
Yeah, because he's imitating Bert
Okay,
because
okay.
he's so scared that Bert told him like, "You better imitate me or else."
Well, the thing that I hoped was happening, I was like, is he having some kind of psychic link with the graboids all of a sudden? Like he's been
that's why that was
been
happening.
fighting them for so long that
Yeah.
now he's like in their minds.
yeah, like I
Hive mind.
wish it had been something like that, or I wish even if you're gonna have him infected by this virus that can only be cured by getting antibodies from a live graboid, we find out, like show a scene in this movie where he is punctured by a graboid
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Because
you
the
know?
whole
like,
every fucking movie we've been seeing people getting sprayed with guts and all this shit.
Yeah.
They're like every character comes back like I'm sick with graboid disease, you guys. Fuck.
yeah, I was thinking about like that helicopter pilot in South
Yeah.
Africa. Like any
Yeah.
minute now, he's gonna be like, you
Yeah.
know, like-
Well, no, apparently 20 fucking years.
Oh,
He's
that's
fine.
true,
Yeah, it totally reeked.
He'll drink himself to death.
It totally reeked to me of like Michael Gross being like, you know what? I'm fucking 70. I'm old. Can I lay in a bed for half the
Yeah.
scenes? Like, do I need to run around and
Yeah.
be naked in a cage? Like, whatever.
But
That was too much.
he still had to show his ass in this movie.
Oh God,
yeah,
yeah,
he sure did.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to get back to this
Yeah,
scene.
sorry. This female doctor, she diagnoses Bert and then is instantly pulled through a window. I think that happened to a guy in Tremors 2 as well.
It didn't to hilarious fashion.
Yeah, okay, but
Yeah.
what did you think about the fact that she gets first? So she's getting attacked by the worms that in this movie apparently are reattached.
Attached. Yep.
Yeah, because they're not Africanized.
I guess, but they kind of looked like the African.
They're the same. They're the same model.
Yeah, they're the same model,
They're
but they
the
don't.
same 3D model.
They don't work the same.
Yeah, and I think at some point Valerie says that these graboids actually are
They're
the ones
first.
before.
They're
yeah.
pre-cable.
Yeah, someone says that.
So she says these are the first, and then they migrated south and evolved to live in the desert, and then the Africa ones
How?
are separate. I don't know.
Would there be graboids in fucking Idaho?
Yeah.
Because Asbesters land.
Yeah, so she gets grabbed by one of the snake tongues, right? And they're like, she's like, "Don't let me go! Don't let go of me!" And they're like holding on to her arm, and like another one grabs her around the other arm, and then like one grabs her around the chest, and then like the killing blow. I don't know if you noticed this. The killing blow, one grabs her by the crotch.
Yeah.
Like really aggressively, like
Yeah.
it could have grabbed her anywhere. I could grab her on her head. And it just like, I don't know if I thought for sure you'd be like offended by that. It was so like,
It
to
didn't
me,
really offend me because it was just like it was attacking her.
I
Like
guess.
between her legs would be another opening that the the graboid could like.
It was just grabbing her in like three different places at the same time, and the last one was like crotch, and then she got
if
pulled
you think
out.
about it, if you're trying to get pull on something, you go around both sides and you go around the bottom, and then
I guess
That's just
it
not
just
how
felt-
Don John wants to hate on women.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt a little bit like. They need to grab her there, like that.
No,
And I was like, grab her by the. It was
And
like a
also
whole
by,
thing
like,
that
this
crossed
point
my
in
mind.
the movie, I've really given up on like any of the female characters being as good as the old ones.
Oh,
because
yeah, for
first of all,
sure.
there's too many of them, which I thought I would never say, but there's too many because they don't distinguish anything about them.
No, they're all catalog models. Like they're
Yeah.
all wearing a different cardigan, and like
I have glasses, so I'm
Yeah.
a smart.
Yeah.
I'm a smart one.
And there's this doctor that gets killed first. There's another girl that looks exactly like her that I have no idea what her position was.
Yeah.
But
She
she
gets
was with them for the rest of the movie.
oh right. Who
She
gets
doesn't
killed?
get killed.
Who gets killed in the hot springs?
Another one.
Another one.
Another
The DARPA
female
doctor,
scientist
yeah.
from DARPA. Yeah.
She gets totally jazzed to death.
Yeah. Which
That was
we do get to see graboids in water, and was it as exciting as we hoped? No.
This one, like every chance they can kill a female first
Yeah.
instead of a man, they kill the female.
Yeah.
Which I was like, really? Okay. Come on, Don Juan.
Come on, Don John.
Oh, and I want to point out too that when Bert is getting diagnosed with this disease, I was freaking out because when we watched Tremors 3 and Bert came out of the graboid and said like, we're never going to talk about this again. I had said specifically, I thought for sure Bert was going to come out of that graboid and say, I was in the belly of the beast. And in this
And
movie,
that's exactly
he
what he
literally-
says.
they show the flashback and he looks and says, I was in the belly of the beast. And I was like, they can hear me.
That was crazy.
It was
That
so
was
weird.
DARPA.
Yeah, maybe. Probably.
So Bert's got this disease, and we find that the only thing that can cure it, and the only thing that people have been trying to do every fucking movie, is capture a live graboid and extract, I don't know,
antibodies from a
juices from.
a gland,
Yeah,
basically like from its uvula.
yeah. So they need to extract something directly from the graboid in order to cure him.
It has to be alive.
They have to perform a tonsillectomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
basically.
really the reason I got my tonsils out,
right.
to cure someone that I'd previously infected.
So we get into this situation where they're like, they're doing the electric thing again, where they have conjured something to make an
I feel
electric
like it's
wall.
cooler in this, where there's like an underground reservoir, and like they talk about how there's pylons, and like we'll make an electric fence.
Yeah, but maybe the idea is cooler, but the execution of it is not very.
I agree.
Visually cool.
There's like this guy who's like, he's practically like a wannabe Doc Brown situation, who's carrying these wires and like connecting them and getting electrocuted and being
He's
like
like crazy
"Woo!"
pyro
Yeah,
explosive
it's just like
dude.
so unnecessary.
If you remember the movie Down Periscope, Harlan Williams, where he was the radio operator who connected all of the wires with his finger, he was he was the conduit of electricity. It is this guy.
Also, BB-8 did this in The Last
That's
Jedi.
right. That's right.
So
That's a better and more timely reference.
So
Forget what I just said.
they use this electric wall to kill the first graboid, and we get Bert giving his new line based on his original favorite line. He says, "You broke into the wrong hangar, you bastard."
which is stupid because that is not Bert's hangar. Like Bert has not outfitted this hangar. He's
Nope,
had no
nope.
say in what this hangar can
It
do.
made me so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing, man, they're just like, hey, reference.
Hey,
reference.
remember?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, totally. And I was
I did like it. One line he had that I did like is when he comes out of one of his comas. He's like, I'll be dead when I say I'm dead. I was like, that seems like
and Jamie Kennedy's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But he says it timidly, like he's not sure. Which is probably one of the best like line reads that he has in this movie. I think that maybe we jumped past this where Bert's like super
Oh, we definitely jumped past stuff.
oh yeah. Super dubious of DARPA and thinks that like, oh, the DARPA has like grown the graboids or whatever. And that's a classic Stephen King Stranger Things, like DARPA is spooky evil shit.
Yeah, the whole thing is like that he thinks that DARPA is going to try to weaponize the graboids.
Right. And so one thing that I actually liked in the middle of this movie, the DARPA's guy is like, you would think that, but like, fuck, dude, I'm here to get groundwater to the States.
Yeah.
That's fucking it. Like,
I'm just trying to help everybody.
Yeah, it's like the ice caps are melting. We're collecting the water. That's literally it.
yeah. And then Bert's like, I still don't believe you, which he's kind of right. But
Because at the end, he's like, no, we do want to weaponize.
But I did like that it was just like that. You thought that, oh, like, yeah, they grew the graboids. It's this government conspiracy. And the guy's like, no.
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I
did enjoy that.
Yeah.
There's also a subplot that I barely understood, and I must have missed a scene or something. But Jamie
I doubt
Kennedy has brought an NHK-91 to
yeah.
Bert.
From 5. He had the HK-91 in 5.
This is another dumb like reference thing that I was
Jamie
like,
Kennedy had it?
Yes.
Oh.
He had it
Yeah.
on his bike in Nevada when they met.
Oh, okay, so for some reason...
HK-91.
I don't know. He never brought it up again in 5, but in this one, he keeps saying, "Where did you get a HK-91? Where did you get it?"
No, he was asking about it in 5.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
he keeps asking him over and over, and I was just like, "What?" So,
yeah. And he reveals that he got it from Heather.
which is like, that is a stupid reference to Heather. In the other movie, he said like, where he talked to Heather in the camera when he thought he was dying. That didn't annoy me as much. But this was like,
But he was talking
not
about
really
that gun.
related.
That's the gun he was talking
No,
about.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
But so what? We're supposed to believe that Jamie Kennedy went to Heather and got it before he even had the chance to
Yeah.
meet Bert and reveal that he was his father?
Yes.
It's dumb.
It's
dumb.
that was the premise that they set forward in the last movie.
Yeah, but it's just not. It's dumb.
Yes. It's awful.
And yeah, and this whole movie, it still doesn't seem like Bert cares about Travis, Jamie Kennedy.
He calls
at
him
all.
Wingman. He doesn't call him son.
Still
Wingnut.
doesn't- he starts calling him Wingnut. He finally calls him Wingman, and that's supposed to be like a good thing. But I think Jamie Kennedy does an okay job of acting like he does actually care about Bert and doesn't want him to die. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Bert seems quite ready to die. Jamie Kennedy is like, think, dummy, think. We got to capture one of these things alive. But then they kill a bunch of them, and he doesn't really think that that's a good idea.
And he's like, someone mentioned fishing earlier.
Right.
He mentions to
And
the
then
scientist too that like, you know, I haven't known my dad for that long, and I don't want him to die.
And
You know,
then
I want to
they
get to know him.
do a thing that I was wanting to see in Well, first, they make a joke about how are you going to catch them alive? You're going to lasso them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, I thought that there was going to be a Tremors rodeo
Yes,
too when he was
yes.
catching the ostriches.
That would've been great.
So that was them making fun of my dumb idea, which fair enough movie. But then they decide to go fishing for a graboid, which I don't know. I'm down with. That was fun.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was like they
executed it poorly, but fine.
yeah, so they kind of like put this hook on the airplane and time it so that it like catches the graboid as it jumps, and then they drag it into a...
Okay, so
I was kind of confused exactly what was happening.
All right, well, let's double back to get to why that scene makes me mad.
Yeah.
So the before the electric fence thing, there's a gentleman who likes energy drinks and
Yes.
RC planes. And he gets stuck on top of a drill core that they just set for automatic drilling.
Yeah, and the one guy goes like, "Hey, remember we set it for automatic drilling?" And you're like, "Come on."
And then Bert's like, "Oh my god, that's like a graboid, like
Energy
homing
beacon.
Yeah, energy beacon.
Whatever.
And so this guy's on top of it, and then like they have to save somebody else or whatever. So like it's like a fucking drill that's just like pounding into the ground, and they're trying to save this other guy. And then Bert has the bright idea where this guy who's into energy drinks
Pee scene, pee scene, pee scene, pee scene.
He's like, how many of those energy drinks have you had? And he's like, oh, well, you got to pee off that tower, and distract the graboids from the giant drill tower that's still firing. And so he does. And one of the things that Bert says here is take out that disco stick and let it dance. Where he's encouraging another gentleman to urinate.
Yeah, and we get
in front of all of these sexy scientists.
We get a fun line from Valerie, who's looking at his dick through a sniper scope.
He got game.
Yeah.
Is a thing that is said.
She's like zoomed in on it with her sniper.
And then it distracts the graboid. And so that
because peeing on the ground is so fucking loud.
Peeing on the ground is so fucking loud. The way that they killed them with the electric fence is that they had like pneumatic drills and sledgehammers, and they were making all the noise in the fucking world, and to drive it into this electric fence the same way that Val killed it in the first movie, which was kind of cool. It was like a slow motion. It was kind of annoying, but fucking whatever. The lure that they have for their fishing plan is the fucking executive balls of like the clickety clack.
Yeah.
Right? Oh god, that
Gotta
was
love
so
those.
dumb.
And that's what's attached to the hook to this plane. It's not a hook. It's not a bait. It's their whole plan is, and they're all standing around making fucking noise. It's not like it's the loudest fuck. Like they could have just thrown a fucking drill out there. But no, like this novelty fucking bouncy ball thing with no hook that's gonna get it caught in this graboid's throat is the thing that they're gonna attach to the goddamn plane that they didn't attach the line to. The plan is fucking stupid. Is my point. And
it makes it look like the graboid jumps out of the ground and then they hook it and then drag it while it's flying through there into a cargo
container, and then they just shove a bunch of rebar into it.
Yeah. So it's like stuck there.
Yeah.
And then we get a terrible looking graboid mouth prop.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was practical, I have to say.
It was, but I was like, I didn't like it.
And then some bros have to kill the mouth tentacles.
Yep. That was really a dumb scene too.
Yeah.
Like all these different characters trying to use machetes and like fight off the...
Nobody died, right? It was just all pointless.
Yeah, nobody died. It was just like a dumb like, oh, look at me. I can be the man and do it. I'm the man.
But nobody could. Nope. And then Bert, who's been down for the count, shows up with his gun
and his ass.
Yeah, and his ass. Oh, also, the whole reason this is happening is that Jamie Kennedy said it was like, well, no, of course we can capture Graboid. Of course we can do it because nobody said you could nail Jello to a wall, but I did. And then that's a recurring theme as a thing that he said that's supposed to be inspiring.
Why? Yeah.
I will say
also the electrified ground thing.
Like, well, I have more to say.
The electrified ground thing is like the same plot that the little girl had.
I know, and that's why I said it's not as cool. It's dumb.
Yeah.
And you don't see anything happen. It's just like an explosion kind of.
One thing that kind of happened in all the other Tremors films, except really for these last two, is that somebody that either we care about or the characters care about gets killed. And in 5 and 6, nobody gets killed other than like extraneous people, which is very predictable.
Pieces of shit are hot chicks.
Yeah. And so, especially in this one, I was like, there's so many characters. So I thought, oh, there's just going to be like more crazy deaths, right? But barely any of them die. Like we get a few of the DARPA guys die. The 2 female doctor scientists, and like that one Dr. Freezy guy who won't stop running away with a rolling suitcase.
The pilot would have been the person that would, if she died, it would have actually had an impact. And she could have died.
Anyone really, but we just don't care about any of these people, and like it just reminds me of like how like poignant it was in like Tremors 3 when Miguel died, or like in Tremors 1 the doctor and his wife, like that was really sad. And
Chang.
like and Chang and the drunk guy even, and then in the prequel even, like Black-Hand Kelly got eaten by the graboid.
No,
and,
death
yeah.
matters. These people,
Like these named characters,
they're
you know.
not,
I think
they're not
we're
canon fodder.
I think we're learning that the writing was better in those other movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, there wasn't enough death.
More carnage.
Like maybe it kind of gets back to like there's a plot point that gets a moderate amount of screen time in this where Bert has changed hats, where he's wearing a Cubs hat, and
I didn't like that either.
That is Michael Gross. He's a Cubs fan. He is from Chicago, and the Atlanta Hawks hat was originally his idea. And so I think at this point he was like, "Fuck it! Like that was my idea. You're paying me. It's a Cubs hat now."
They went with that joke like 6 times.
They did. They did.
Apparently, the Hawks hat was just a hat that was lying around the set that he put on.
Yep.
And so this time he wants to wear a Cubs hat because of them.
Right.
They won something.
They won the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just gets to be like, I didn't change teams, just hats.
Which
over and over
it
again.
doesn't make any sense because it's different leagues and yeah. Anyway,
It was weird.
but it was. I think it was Michael Gross being like, "Sure, you can pay me."
Yeah.
Wait, Tyler, that was the return of your Insider Baseball segment.
Oh, inside baseball segment.
Finally, it's been so long.
long.
Yeah, so let's. I mean, they capture the graboid. They pretend like they're going to give it to the DARPA bro.
They extract the
Jamie Kennedy
antibodies.
climbs in there with
Oh,
a
right,
big
right.
old goofy syringe.
Yeah.
And then even though the doctor was killed via the vagina, they were able to synthesize a cure.
Yep.
But
Because
then
there was just
is
enough.
Jamie Kennedy infected now, and he's gonna get it in 20 years.
But they have this whole scene where like he actually died. It seems like he's dead,
They
right?
have the antibodies.
I don't know.
Everyone lives.
How you get infected with graboid disease is Wait, hold on, you guys.
Yeah,
Did they name the graboid disease in this movie?
they did not.
We need to name it, because if we name it, it's going to be what it's called forever.
Graboids.
Graboid phasia.
Graboids.
Graboids.
According to Jamie Kennedy's off
I like graboids.
Yeah.
Ding, we have a winner. It's called graboids.
Graboids.
Bert was infected with graboids.
Graboids.
I'm ashamed of myself for making up that portmanteau.
You came up with it so fast.
I know.
Like you were holding on to it. That's
No, I really wasn't. At some point, the DARPA guy wants to be saved, and Jamie Kennedy refuses to save him unless he agrees to waive all of Bert's back taxes and make him never pay taxes again. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, also me too. I also don't want to pay taxes." So the guy's like, "All right, fine." And like at the end of the movie, he actually signs some mysterious paper that says the two of them never have to pay taxes again.
Yeah. And we learned that it was all a ruse, and they're going to fly a fucking airplane into the remote control airplane into the graboid and blow it up.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Yep.
Dumb. And then we get a super rapey kissing scene.
That's right. It's incredibly.
It's not the kissing scene itself is not rapey, but the descriptions from Bert of like
Yes.
what he should be doing are a little
Oh,
rapey.
I have it.
Here we go.
I have it here.
Give it to us.
So they do their little goodbye or whatever, and Bert's like, "Oh, dude, like that's not that. Like no son of mine. Like you call that romantic? Like you need to go there with a 44 Magnum."
He was
you
like,
don't-
there was no penetration.
You don't go there with that broke dick response. And then what Jamie Kennedy says is that wasn't broke dick. That was sweet dick.
Yeah, he like kissed her on the cheek, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, you need to go in there for maximum penetration.
Boo.
And then Jamie Kennedy goes in there and has a real gross kiss with this completely unearned love scene.
No, I don't like it.
And then afterwards, he goes back to Bert, and Bert's like, "It wasn't a 44 Magnum; it was like a 34," which I assume maybe that's a wrong gun thing. I don't know.
It just
also
came-
the IMDb thing of these, everyone's like, "That's not what that gun does. This is not what that gun does.
That gun doesn't fuck people.
That gun doesn't click that way." And it's like, oh god.
That thing with Bert, it's like Bert has never had womanizer qualities at all.
Bert loved his
so
wife,
creepy.
and in the scene from Tremors 2 where it's sad and pathetic for him to be like, where he gets the call from Fred, and it's just like Fred Ward's just like, "Oh my god, graboids, like give my life purpose." Like implicit in that scene is that he knows he fucked up.
Yeah, he wasn't at the strip club when he answered the phone.
Like he literally had
He wasn't at the strip club reloading his guns.
Yeah,
As we know, he's had one wife that he was devoted to and devastated when she left, and he had a one-night stand at a Grateful Dead concert in the 70s. Like, those are not
Who
things
hasn't?
that, what this just comes out of nowhere. Like, it kind of goes back to what we were saying, where he keeps yelling about like conspiracy theories and stuff and taxes. It's just like that. I guess it fits, but it wasn't really part of it.
It was like, this is the kind of dad I want to be.
I think it's a different. I think that the archetype had changed and it's a different parody of it, and I don't like the parody.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was bad.
And maybe it's more complex than that, and it's not that type of show, so we don't have to get into it.
I feel like they could have done the same kind of thing, but not with that creepy language.
Yeah. Just been like, hey, why didn't you kiss her? Like
literally,
what did Fred Ward say to Val before? Like,
you should have made some comment about like kissing her on the mouth,
that's what
like
I
a
mean.
real
Like
kiss.
you've been talking to Val and be like, you know what? Like she wouldn't be here if her dad hadn't made a reckless made reckless move. You know what? Like I say, you go for it, son.
I mean, he should have been like, that wasn't a real kiss. This was a real kiss, and then kiss him. Jamie Kennedy. I mean, that would have been so much better, right, guys? That I would buy.
Do you guys think there's a Tremors porn parody out there? Just talking about that. The two guys making out made me think there's got to be parodies out there.
Don't make any noise.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna will it into
You're gonna
existence.
get
No
penetrated.
I'm sure there is.
Please don't tweet us.
Yeah, I don't want to really know. It was more just a hypothetical.
So that's basically the end of the movie, and we don't get any post-credit things.
And end of the series.
Yeah,
For now.
yeah.
So
for now,
would we want to see this series continue? I guess, we really have not talked about this Kevin Bacon pilot that recently was all over the news. So
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon decided to come back and make a pilot for Sci-Fi, which Sci-Fi is part of NBC Universal. So I feel like they were trying to set it up in this movie by having this character, Valerie. She kind of kept alluding to the fact that her dad was a piece of crap and not a very good dad. He's an absent father. He wasn't there, Like, she mentions it multiple times. And in the trailer that leaked or went out for this unaired pilot, Val is shown being like a alcoholic back in perfection, and there's obviously not like in a good way. So I think they were probably trying to set that up, but then they ended up not picking up the pilot, and it's gone now. So.
yeah. So no one will ever see that. There was a Tremors TV series too that we haven't talked about. But,
Yes.
But those are the only remaining media that exists for Tremors at the moment. But would you guys be interested in seeing another movie?
I think that is interesting. I should get his name right. It's Don
Michael Paul.
Don Michael Paul. I looked at his IMDb, and guys, I have bad news. I feel like that we're not going to be rid of him for a little bit. I feel like he is someone who commits sequel sins.
Oh, no.
And he has directed, if you look at him, he is basically the go-to guy for extraneous sequels. He did Jarhead 3, he did Death Race, he did a lot of these different things, and I feel like it's great for our podcast and the thing we're talking about. These last two movies really took when you're squeezing blood from the stone of a series, and I felt like that the Tremors mythology had so much more to go with, and this 5 and 6 went immediately to where second and third sequels usually go to, and it is kind of soulless and artless, and if it's going to continue on in that vein, I would not like to see that.
So you're saying we're about 2 years away from a Jamie Kennedy only Tremors film. I was going to say
that's exactly what I'm saying.
So I liked I liked Tremors 5 Bloodlines because it was we're shot suddenly into modern filmmaking, and we've got crazy new graboids from Africa. Sure. Whoa. This movie, They have the opportunity to do that again. Ice graboids, something crazy. They
Sure.
don't go far enough with that. It's like basically the same thing. And I was like super interested in the idea, and I feel like it expands the mythology in a cool way and not like a movie breaking way. Where like these graboids are so old and they're clearly spread out throughout the world. How come we can't have them evolving in different ways all over the place? So like I was hoping that this movie would then, have crazy like new evolutions that were like I said last week, like ice graboids or something. And they didn't really seem like that, but I would be totally down for like them like globe hopping and finding graboids in different places that have different attributes and different things that they've evolved in like crazy ways.
I think
Like
that's
that would
super
be so
interesting.
fun.
Like it was such a throwaway thing. It was like it's the tundra, like global warming. And it's like so we didn't have to change the models, we didn't have to change the rules. Nothing really changed.
It's just like wasted potential.
And so like I think that I would like to see more of that. There's a nerd part of me that's like, well, if they only hatch every 300 years, their evolutionary cycle will be very slow.
But if they hatched all over the world at different times and they just people didn't know about it, or I don't know, who knows?
But no, yes, different locations with different rules. I agree that Africa was more compelling because there was some new addition to it.
Yeah, this movie had nothing new.
Yeah. Yes.
So yes, those are good points about the graboids, but I'd say on a character level, God forbid they make one without Michael Gross. Like, even though we didn't like where Bert was going at this point, like, just stop if Michael Gross is no longer on board. I believe he has already said that he is on board for another one. So,
Like, why wouldn't he? He's fucking making bank out of these, probably.
And I don't mind Jamie Kennedy coming back and continuing that character, but I feel like if you're really going to continue and keep going back to the old well of the references, you got to get at least one more person back. You got to get either Kevin Bacon or Fred Ward or somebody to come back, because it's just like you're going farther and farther away from it, but trying to pull more and more from it.
I don't think that you need any of them. Like if it was somebody, I think that the thing that's most compelling about the Tremors, the first movie, is that it was so clear that they were doing almost a parody of this 1950s like stereotype. And so if you're taking this action movie stereotype and you're saying these are the archetypes, these are the people, and the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go against type, we're going to go against expectations, and we're going to make those characters compelling. If that's your goal and that's in the spirit, I think it would fit as a Tremors movie, and I would be excited to see those characters. But I think that it's a hard task, and it would take a really great script and a really great director, and that's just not the direction these are going.
I'm just really like this whole talk about like, we've reached the end of the series, and it just makes me so sad. And I never thought I would be like, I really want to see that pilot that Eliz was talking about that got canceled. Like, whether or not it was good or what, it like continues the story of like one of the main characters that we've only heard like kind of like offhand mentions of. Basically,
I don't know if it was in this movie or in 5 where Jamie Kennedy is like, "How many other monster hunters do you know?" None. And I'm like, I know several.
But it's just like it's like one of those things that's like we're probably never going to see it, and it's like a continuation of that.
It's
of his
so
story.
funny too, because I mean, when we spoke to SS Wilson, and he has said on the website that they would still, despite all the bad blood and all that, they would want to come back. Bad bloodlines. That they would want to, if given the opportunity, they would still come back to the franchise, which is insane that they even say that. But like, I don't know. And they weren't involved in the Kevin Bacon thing, even though they apparently reached out. I did see on that Facebook group that at least one of the guys has somehow watched the Kevin Bacon pilot. But they were being all mysterious.
So
about
jealous,
it.
jealous. I would love to see it.
I think
we should use our Tremors clout on this podcast to get a screening of the film.
If you've seen it
pilot.
and you can get it to us, we will happily watch it and talk about it.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
Or not talk about it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I also heard an interview with Michael Gross where he said the reason he keeps coming back is because he feels like Bert gets a new thing to do on a personal level every time. So I guess he felt like having a son in the 5th and then being sick and older in this one was the thing. But like, I think if they don't find a way to better improve the relationship between him and his son, Or alternatively, like, can he have another love interest? Like, or something,
I don't know.
like
Maybe he'll get to be a ghost in the next one.
Get Reba. Bring back Reba.
That would be crazy. But cool.
Ghost hunter.
If they brought back Reba, like, that's it, sold. I'm in, like
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So
That'd be crazy.
So yeah, those are all the possibilities.
Yeah.
I think we are all willing to see more. So what do you think about the overall order of this franchise?
Overall order.
I think we all agree 1 is the best one.
Yeah, I think 1.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many. I think I'd have to go 1.
I can tell you mine right now. It's
Yeah.
1, then 4, the prequel. 3.
I love the prequel too.
I know, I love the prequel so much. And then 3, the Back to Perfection.
Yeah.
Then 2, and then 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think I'd go 1, 3, 4, 2, 5, 6.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you, Liz. I think I have the exact same order.
All right, fair enough. I like 3 better because it just for me the novelty of bringing back all the characters or as many characters as they could was.
Yeah.
I just loved that prequel. I don't know why.
Charming.
I just loved it. I have bought the TV series. I haven't had time to watch it yet, but hopefully at some point in the future, maybe we'll do like a bonus episode.
Yeah,
or
we
something.
might do a bonus episode.
I also have bought the book Seeking Perfection by Jonathan Melville, which is really a lot of behind the scenes stuff from Tremors and a lot of really good interviews. And I definitely want to finish reading that and talk about it at some point as well.
Sweet. Well, shoot. I think that's going to bring us to the end of the Tremors franchise.
Did we talk about how many sexy female scientists we'd give?
No, we didn't.
Tremors 6.
You know what? I'm going to go with a 2 on this one.
I'll say
really,
3.
Really did not care for it that much.
No, I think it's...
I had a hard time paying attention, not going to lie.
2. Same as 5.
It was a disappointing end of the franchise, man.
Yeah.
I was like... Ice graboids, why?
Yeah.
It
Would
could
it
have
be
been
cool
so
if
cool.
the ice graboids had like Elsa powers?
I want them to shoot icicles out of their mouths. Why couldn't they do that?
Shoot the snake ice.
Yeah, there was no ice. A cold day in hell. It didn't seem that cold. Didn't seem that cold.
It seemed like a summer in South Africa.
Tremors, a summer in South Africa.
Next time we're in a cold place, we're gonna be like, you guys, it is so cold right now. I feel like I'm summer in South Africa.
It's South Africa cold.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it, man. Stay tuned here to hear what we're gonna do next for you guys. But in the meantime, Eliz, where can people keep in touch with us? Follow up?
Yeah, you can email us anytime, sequelrights@gmail.com. This is a good time to remind you that we need suggestions for other franchises.
Absolutely.
So please email us that, or you can always reach out to us and follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @sequelrights.
And Tyler, where can people show us their appreciation?
We'd love to hear your comments and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Give us 1 star. Just tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and so coming up next, you guys, we are going to be diving into The Purge. Don't go out at The Purge night. It's a bad idea.
Yeah. But it's a super solid sociological experiment. The science checks out.
The reason we are doing The Purge is because we are going to lead up to the release of the brand new 4th film in theaters, July 4th, The First Purge. So, we're pretty excited about this one, you guys.
Have you guys seen the Purge movies before?
I, like Eliz, have only seen the third one. I've seen The Purge.
You mean like me for Tremors.
Yes,
because for
yes.
The Purge, I have seen none of them.
I mean, like, I've seen a random future one and not the original.
I've seen none of them. Ethan Hawke is in the first one.
He's in the
right?
first
believe
one.
so.
He's-
I recently saw him as a pimp in Valerian, so I'm excited.
I recently saw him as a priest in the first Reformed.
I heard that's great.
Yeah, I did
So
too.
good, so dark.
But, Justin, you and I have both been in many Purge-themed mazes at
That's
Universal
true.
Studios.
Pretty
So,
scary.
Hopefully that didn't have any spoilers.
We can bring first-hand experience of fighting off the Purge.
Except you can't actually touch any of the people or you get thrown out.
So, over the next couple weeks, we're going to binge on the Purge.
How long have you had that in your back pocket?
Just now. Just popped into my brain. Honestly, I'm not gonna. I'm not kidding.
Yep. So we'll see you guys next week for the end of America.
Next week, The Purge.
It's actually a documentary.